I have a hard time getting to the number. And after a whole season of it's Duke and Auburn and then everybody else, now it's Duke and Florida. And I'm not there yet. I think these teams are very, very close together.
What's going on, everybody? Your Bits Podcast back. Final Four preview. We'll kick around some draft props and maybe some Masters, maybe some Major League Baseball, whatever else is on our mind. But first and foremost, obviously, welcome. Thanks again for to joining us and listening and having us be part of your day to try and supplement your income. But Final Four this weekend on Saturday, and we got the two national semifinal games that we'll obviously start with. And to do that with me, as always, my co-host Schwartz and Sammy Will Hill for our gambling group chat. Got the first game on Saturday is Florida-Auburn. Auburn, 2.5-point dog, total of 160. And then the nightcap is Duke and Houston, where you're looking at Duke -5, total of 136. Looks like there is a 5.5 out there at DraftKings right now. But I think obviously in that first game, guys, everything is so contingent on Johni Broome's status. You'll look at the end of that game, and when he went out, his immediate reaction was not good. And we're recording this on Thursday morning, so last I had read, Bruce Pearl was hoping that he could practice this afternoon. We don't know if he is or is not going to. I just wonder, though, you look at the way he left that game and then ultimately came back in. It almost felt like can you just get it back out there on the floor, take up some space, be a bit of a decoy, and just kind of, until this game is academic, give us a little something. He hit that 1-3, obviously just not shooting hand that was injured. That one rebound, though, that he had, we just snatched it up with his left hand, flung it down court, didn't even really make an effort to use the right hand. So I wonder, Will, how healthy he really is. And if he's not healthy, obviously, I think Auburn is going to be up against it here.
Yeah, and we're probably not going to know until the game starts. And even in that situation, if he looks good the first 5 minutes, who's to say he can't re-aggravate it? Geoff, this is a former athlete. Sometimes these guys, they get hurt in the middle of a game and they got the adrenaline going. They can kind of manage it. And then once you get the time off, it could be a different story. It's interesting. They played February 8th, these two teams, one meeting this season, day before the Super Bowl. Auburn was favored by 10.5. Now they're getting, the next game was in Auburn, but laying 10.5, now you're plus 2.5 on a neutral court. That is interesting. Florida did win the game by 9 points and got up a bunch more threes, 33 threes compared to 22. Florida, I like Florida here. I just think Broome's uncertainty is enough to take Florida. Florida's played 4 games in this tournament, obviously. 2 of them they should have lost, including Texas Tech. Even Norfolk State, the 116 game, Norfolk outscored them in the last 25 minutes. The one good game they played was against Maryland a week ago, and that was when they had the extra time to prep. So maybe Golden just struggles with the short rest, short prep. Maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing. I know it's not great value. If you're just going to look at your spreadsheet, Sammy, and that's probably a good nickname for you. We should start calling you that, Spreadsheet Sammy, because you're going to look at your numbers. It's hard to get to Florida 2.5. I just think they have more weapons. I'm going to go with Florida because of the uncertainty of Broome and because that regular season matchup I did think indicated some advantages here for the Gators.
All things square, everybody healthy. I've got Florida 1. So, this number tells me that Broome is obviously not 100%. I would still take 3, though. Understand that I don't think a lot of us are in love with these Final Four games. We had 32 first-round games. We had the second round, Sweet 16, Elite 8. Forcing a big wager on the Final Four is not something that I like to do. I used to do it in college when I had no money, ironically enough. But I think the bet here would be Auburn +3. I don't love it, but I would take 3. We're 2.5 basically everywhere. I would bank on Broome being healthy and the veteran-driven Tiger team keeping it close till the very end.
Guys, when has Auburn played a full game to their best of ability, like full game? Now they've had stretches in certain games, right? We've seen in the tournament where they've had good second halves, good final 7 minutes. When's the last time they played a really complete? Now we'll mention Florida, right? They had that one game against Maryland. They've been sort of up and down, but they ended the season pretty strong, right? They played a bunch of games where they won for 40 minutes. I just don't think we've seen Auburn play a great 40-minute game in 2 months. And that's important because I think Florida we know it can shoot, they can score. The over has gone over 11 games in a row in Florida games. Like they put the ball in the net. Now they might not play as much defense as well. So I lean Florida ever so slightly. I don't love it. Maybe, a Clayton Jr. over just to have something on the game to root for points and root for a guy who we've seen take over games, the end of games bear. So I would lean maybe in that direction. I don't feel great about much in this game. Maybe a live over at some point. Did you know they play in a football stadium? They're playing in the Alamo Dome, and sometimes we know that scoring can start pretty slow in these big old football arenas. So maybe an in-game over is the way to look at this game as well.
Yeah, holds home to the I think the San Antonio Brahmas, if I'm correct. Bear was more of an expert on that than me, but it is a football stadium, technically a football stadium.
Yeah, what was it? Was it the Vikings owner, or whoever it was? It was going to move an NFL team to San Antonio.
Was it Red McCombs way back when?
It was Red McCombs. Yes. Yeah, good. Yeah. Good memory. Geoff, in reaction to like your Auburn comment, I mean, they did kick the crap out of Kentucky at Rupp late in the regular season when they wound up clinching the regular season SEC title. So, I mean, it hasn't been that long ago. It was almost like since they clinched that title, they kind of
2 months ago, though.
March 1st, so a little over a month ago.
Mark. Okay,
right.
1
I
month.
would say the last 10 minutes of the Michigan game
was
through
great.
the Michigan State game. So maybe the past like 50 minutes of game time, they hit a switch at one point in that Michigan game where Michigan got up by I think about 10. Auburn went by them like they were standing still, won the game, covered the game, and then they started hot against Michigan State and kind of just put it into neutral and just kind of got that game home. But I think the last game and a half or so, game and a quarter, they've been pretty impressive. But Geoff, your point is still well taken for sure.
Florida's awesome. We all know that. I have a hard time getting to the number. And after a whole season of it's Duke and Auburn and then everybody else, now it's Duke and Florida. And I'm not there yet. I think these teams are very, very close together.
Yeah, I'm not there yet either. I'm with you. Remember too, Will, you brought up that game at Auburn. Elijah Martin and Hanglaton didn't even play in that game, and I think that's probably the reason why that number did drift up to 10 like it did. But now you've got a fully healthy Florida side. You've got an Auburn side that might be shorthanded. I actually looked and found a prop on total points and rebounds for Johni Broome, 29.5. On FanDuel, and I'm gonna look at going under on that because if his right arm isn't fully healthy, I think that obviously would affect his ability to rebound, and you can kind of isolate and maybe get a little extra bump there from the points, and maybe his rebounding isn't as good as well. But Sammy, here's another way maybe to play. People were talking about it. Is it Duke and Auburn? Is it Duke and Florida? And maybe you're not there yet. You can tie in kind of the other game with that if you're not necessarily a believer in the winner of this game winning the national title, or if you can bet out there. I think it's like minus 195 that the winner of Duke and Houston will ultimately be the national champion. Is that something that interests you at all, being that you're kind of a little sketchy here on Auburn?
If I was naked on it, yeah, maybe. But with Duke in pocket, there's no reason to add any more. By the way, the Duke Final Four bets did, I believe those hit, right?
They were close.
That was a close shot, right?
They lost when Flagg busted his ankle in the SEC tournament.
And he was never going to play again.
Yep. And I burned my ticket. I lit it on fire. We bet Duke. I was looking at it this morning, January 14th at 6-1. So my answer is different than most because, I have a pretty nice number on Duke. I don't want to add more. I don't really feel like that's a good idea at this point.
Is there a way here to potentially play Will and Geoff? And I'll ask you, like the price on Flagg being most outstanding player, you might get a few cents better on that than you might get on just Duke to win the title. I think in a couple places now.
Yeah, but is it really worth it? I mean, I guess, but is there even a 10% chance that they win it and somebody else gets it? Probably not, but I don't know. No, Geoff, Sammy?
I think Duke wins against Houston, and then I think against Florida, it is a toss-up. And then it's like, is that value there to do that? Because again, if Florida can easily beat Duke, in my opinion, I don't think Houston's going to win. So it's possible, obviously, but then obviously Fogg's not going to be MVP, right? I mean, there'd be someone in Florida most likely. So I think it's probably not the best wager to make if you think those games are 50-50s.
I don't have that market up because I live in a bad state, as Bear would call it. What's the price on Knipple for Duke? I haven't seen a price.
I
I'm going to guess
20
he's
to
like
1.
20.
I was looking this morning. Yeah.
I would bet that. I mean, remember, this is the MOP of the Final Four, not of the whole tournament. Although, voters are going to, if Florida wins, voters are going to give it to Clayton because of the tournament he's had, ironically enough. He's been the most clutch player in the tournament against UConn.
I'm seeing a 35 to 1.
Texas Tech. Really? On Knipple?
If you have an ace up your sleeve, you can maybe find that, Bear.
I like 35 more than 20, Bear, just to confirm. 35 is greater than 20.
35 is better than 20, yeah.
But to clarify, Bear and I are not in good states for betting this stuff either, so we're kind of being creative in where we can find this stuff.
Exactly. But yeah, no. So it's always good to have an ace up your sleeve in a state like Connecticut, where you got to drive to Massachusetts every now and then and get involved. Maybe use some drop props this weekend as well. But yeah,
maybe you go to the Jazz Bar, Bear.
Maybe.
With the ace up your sleeve.
Exactly right. But Geoff, you mentioned you don't think Auburn, or rather Houston, is beating Duke, where Duke is up to 5.5. Like I said, at DraftKings, most places it's 5. Did anybody have anything else on Auburn, Florida? Any other plays before we move on?
Nope.
It sounds like a no. So, Geoff, I'm just going to start with you, and I'll give my opinion. Kind of wrap it up.
Yeah.
Tell me why you think Duke wins this game. It sounds like going away.
I think they're better, right? I mean, it's kind of simple. I don't know if they cover the game exactly, but I think they're just a better overall team. They have many different ways to score. They're really long inside, can affect shots at the rim. They play great defense. And one thing that I've noticed in looking at some of the trends, and of course, you don't wager in games just on trends, but Houston is not good in the second half. Duke's much better. They shoot better from the foul line.
They're pretty good in the second half.
Against who?
Against Purdue. Maybe I know late Purdue made a little bit of a run, but they kind of have a poor shooting half in that first half, and they played a little bit better at least at the start of the second half.
Duke is still better. There's numbers that show Duke's better in the second half. I think they have better ways to score again. I think they're better. I know you were against each other, Bear, because you have Houston winning the championship. I just think Duke's a better team. I guess it's kind of that simple. And can they get bullied? Certainly by Houston. But what if Houston sort of goes through one of their stretches where they just don't score for a little bit of time? Feels tough to win that game. If they have a 4 or 5 minute stretch where they don't put the ball in the basket, feels unlikely for them to win this game.
I think how this game is officiated, which is something we don't know while we're recording this, is very important. If you're going to let them play football, advantage Houston. If every touch foul is going to be called, advantage Duke. We won't know until the game starts, and sometimes the game can be inconsistent whistle to whistle, or half to half, or minute to minute. These teams met in the Sweet 16 last year. Very ugly, very low scoring. Shed got hurt. I don't take too much from that game because Houston was all banged up and Duke has a new team. The only thing I could see carrying over is it being a half-court grinder of a game. I do think it'll be a lower scoring game. I think of all the Final Four games, side total between the two, so 4 total, I like under probably the best. I would go with Duke just because I saw what their defense did to Alabama. They have so much length, so much athleticism. Yep. Alabama, they've got their flaws defensively, but they're an awesome offensive team. 8 of 32 from 3, really looked disrupted. It's almost like in a football game where you can get pressure on the quarterback and bump the receivers and just throw them off the rhythm. If they can do that to Houston, I think Duke just has so much firepower on offense where they can eventually pull away and win the game, 8 to 10 points, something like that. So I will go with Duke. I like the under more than anything, Sammy.
I think there's this narrative too that Duke is just an offensive juggernaut that doesn't play defense. I mean, they have 2 NBA bigs at the rim and 2 NBA wings on the ends. So they're good at shutting the water off near the basket, and then they chase you off the line. I mean, Will just nailed it. Alabama hits 25 threes against, granted, a BYU team that doesn't play defense, but then only hits 8 against Duke because Shire, of all people, knows how to defend shooters. He was an unbelievable shooter in his day. Glenbrook North, by the way, in Illinois. He used to come into the hood and throw up like 30, 40 points. It was the gyms would be packed in Chicago. He was awesome. He's a year older than me. A little bit better than me, too. Can I interest anybody, side note, on a Duke title Scheffler Masters at 8 to 1? Maybe? How about Duke and Luda Oberg, 33 to 1? Duke to win, Oberg to win.
I like so anytime you want to throw a little cross sport at me, I'm in, my man.
I'm gonna make those right now so I don't forget.
We throw the Fever in the WNBA and the Dodgers. What can we get? Let's just get crazy here.
I'll add the
Might
Fever.
lose. Yeah.
I'll add the Fever right now. Let me see what we can get on the Fever.
There we
I'll get
go.
back to you.
To say, hey, we don't want to throw the Dodgers. We don't want to have to wait until November for this.
Bear, are you backing off at all your Houston to win the championship with this game? Are you going to play this game differently because you have that in pocket?
What I am probably going to do is cover myself with a little bit of Duke with that Duke or Houston to win the title bet. Because like I said, I'm gonna. This just goes into like throw it in the CLV, great bet. But now here you are. I made 3 bets to win the title before the year started. I bet Oregon at 100 to 1 just for you, Geoff, because I was
like
blinded by your affinity for the Ducks. I bet Houston at 18 to 1, and I bet Auburn at 30 to 1. So now I have Auburn on one side of the bracket with probably a dinged up Janai Broom, not 100% underdog against Florida. Got Houston at 18 to 1 on the other side. All I got to do is beat Duke and then beat the other team. So it's just like you got great numbers, and unfortunately the bracket and the matchups didn't play out. So I am probably going to bite on a little bit of that Duke or Houston to win, because I do think the winner of this game winds up winning the title. And I think the number is a little bit disrespectful here to Houston, the number 5.5. If you look at like Torvik and Ken Palm and Haslam and like some of these power ratings, they basically have it like at a pick, and maybe Duke like minus a half. Like the number I think you're getting is basically the Duke brand. People know no flag, and they have that memory of Houston. And I know there isn't much to take. What you were talking about the game from last year, it is a lot of the same Houston team that was there, and they led by 6 points when Shed got hurt. And then they scored 35 points in 27 minutes the rest of the game. And again, I know it's a completely different Duke team, but I do think for the guys that were there on that, for Cryer, for Sharp, for Roberts, for Tuller and the other guys that were there, like that memory of an opportunity to get to the Final Four last year, they went up losing to Duke and probably would have won the game had Shed not gotten hurt. I think that does matter. And I think if you look at like the Big 12 and the ACC, the Big 12 was a much better conference than the ACC this year. Both teams ripped through their conferences. You look at the quality of the opponents that these teams have played. Houston's got 7 wins versus top 15 Ken Palm teams this year. I mean, Duke's got 4. I mean, I know you can only play who's on your schedule, and yeah, Duke did have a couple of non-conference wins. They beat Auburn, they beat Arizona, but I think we're kind of just putting Duke on this pedestal. What I'm not sure the numbers really signify that. I mean, Houston, yeah, they do have trouble maybe some time from scoring, but I think, again, that might be a little bit more based on past, not present. This is the number 2 3-point team shooting in the country. So they're close to 40%. I know both teams play great defense, but we'll see. Maybe I'm dead wrong. Maybe I'm looking too much at the numbers. Wouldn't be the first time I've been an idiot and dead wrong, but I think Houston plus the points here is the play for me.
It's not even a Duke tax. It's 2 things. It's a favorite tax because the favorite have done so well in this tournament. Even when they're not covering, the money lines just, man, yeah, I'm sure if you had John Murray on here, these money line parlays are just killing them. Oh. Plus UConn the last 2 years. People are getting flashbacks to, all right, the number doesn't matter because UConn, they win the tournament and they just kill everybody. Who cares if the Illinois line in the Elite Eight is 9 when it should be 7, or Purdue should be 7 or shouldn't be 7.5. They just kill everybody. And they did that for 2 straight tournaments. And now Duke has continued that where the public just bettors, people watch the tournament and say, all I have to do is pick the better team and the points really don't matter. And I think that's also why it's being taxed, even though I do like Duke here.
Quick update. Duke, Fever, Oberg, 170 to 1.
Oh, baby.
Look
As
at
Kramer
Geoff.
says in Seinfeld. That's
Look at Geoff.
action.
I told you, I just texted you guys. I found a better number on the Scheffler Duke championship. I got a 10 to 1.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So
if you want to do Scheffler, the price does come down a bit. So Duke, Scheffler, and the Fever is 44 to 1.
40?
Is that a real number, Geoff, or is that one of those where you make your own lines?
It is a real number. It's not a make your own line. We could make our own line and have a match. It's certainly possible. I heard those are very popular nowadays.
and then move the line in your favor. kind of make it up as you go along. Just pick some random numbers. Why not?
Then the odds are not subject to change. Odds are subject to whatever you want them to be.
The key number of 9 in the Houston Duke game. Surely it won't be.
I'm going to get a text, I know, on Saturday, 10 minutes to tip. Hey, what should I tease Duke with? And I'll be like, tease Duke in Houston and wheel the total in there as well. It's unreal.
I do think if you like Duke, guys, the best way to play it is wait for a better number in game. I think this game could start really slow, to start ugly. To Will's point, officiating, right? Once we figure out how this game will be officiated. Now, again, college basketball, though, the first half and second half might be officiated differently, which is kind of a bummer. Where the first half they call 9 fouls, second half they call 27 fouls. Just sort of sometimes happens that way. But once we determine how the game might go, I do think you can get a better number on Duke at some point if you really like Duke.
Any other thoughts, bets, whatever else on the Final Four before we segue on to something else? There haven't been any odds on next year's national championship. That's not up yet, is it? Anywhere?
I haven't seen them.
We don't even know who the team rosters are going to be. Some of these teams have no players on the roster right now.
Well, that's the benefit of it. If you get wind as to where some of these guys are going, some guys that maybe aren't announced to be in the portal yet, that might be going somewhere.
Do you have inside information on where guys are going to Miami as opposed to like maybe in different schools?
Miami, other schools as well.
Did you see there's 800 players in the portal right now?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
San Diego State lost its entire team, and
Indiana too. I think
it was Paul Stone who tweeted out that Robert Morris, who took Bama, pretty tight late.
Yep.
The entire starting lineup entered the portal a week later. It's like these mid majors, man. I mean, you're going to see mid majors make runs again. I don't think they can sustain success though over 2-3 years. Like you're never going to see a Butler run again.
No,
3 years.
Just wait until the Chattanooga UC Irvine game is over and you see all the players from those teams that wind up going into the pro. But I'm with you, Sammy, on that. Like, I think this could just be an anomaly where these 4 or 5 teams, and you want to count Texas Tech in there, were just better than everybody else this year. And it's just the way they played out. We had a bunch of upsets the last 4 years, and we had NIL in those years as well. So like, I think it's just a circumstantial thing. It's a one-off. I think we'll get the best way to get it. Like you get the upsets in the first and second round. And then once you move along to the Sweet 16, you get 2 1s, a 3 and a 4 in the final, like something like that. I think that's kind of a good mix, but we're looking forward to both these games on Saturday and hopefully a championship game that's worth watching on Monday night. Because remember, you had the last 2008 when you had all 4 once the Final Four. None of the semifinal games were decided by fewer than 15 points, and then you had the Memphis collapse late against Kansas. But Geoff, you're an NFL draft analyst all of a sudden. We see.
Yeah, it's the first year ever covering it, so I'm glad I was able to participate. Yeah, I've never done it before, so I'm glad I was able to participate this year in the discussion about the NFL draft. I'm excited. We got mock drafts that are coming out, pro days. Did you guys know that NFL scouts go to pro days? Every time there's a pro day, they tweet out who's going to be there. It always shocks me every time. So, but glad to talk draft, Bear, because I think there's value in some of these wagers. Now, not as much as there used to be, but the numbers can move kind of crazy after a day of news.
No, they always do, and that's the biggest edge that us as bettors can have is just it's an information based market, and that's why the books don't like to put them up. There are some things starting to pop up in faraway places in terms of draft positions. I think BetMGM has some draft stuff up.
Yeah, DK has them up. I mean, they have them up. So look, I mean, I think you make targeted wagers right on what you hear. And there's 2 of them I like. I think I've shared with you guys. Probably I'll share them now because my mock draft sort of is what it is. It's sort of what I think might happen. Obviously, it changes.
Just kind of threw stuff against the wall, made it up as you went along.
Yeah, I just made it up as I went. I think Will Campbell's going 4 overall to New England, and there's many situations where this plays out that way, right? So you have one where we know Cam Ward's going 1. I think we all agree on that, right, guys? Cam Ward's going 1. If it then goes how I think it might go, like Shadur Sanders, then Travis Hunter, And then you're at 4 with New England. Are you taking Abdul Carter? You don't need pass rusher. You need offensive linemen. Let's say it goes how other people think it's going to go, right? Where it goes Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Hunter. Again, you're sitting with an offensive tackle as a huge need. So I think Will Campbell, it was what 400 plus 400 to go 4th overall just a few days ago. It's slowly ticking down. Bear, I like him to be the first offensive lineman drafted. I like him going to New England.
It sounds like you're with me too on this bet, looking at your mock, and I would bet this still at minus 150. As we've learned over the years, guys, minus 150 in a draft is very cheap.
Yeah.
You could see that number tomorrow be minus 250. And then 3 days later, it drops a whole position. Colston Loveland, 19.5 under at minus 150. I love that bet. It might lose, but I feel like it's only going to go one way. It's not going up. It's not going to go to 20.5, 21.5. I think by draft night, that could be closer to 16.5, 15.5. What do you think on Loveland, Geoff? 19.5.
Yeah, I mean, look, tight ends are so impactful. We know Warren's probably going 1, right? He's going tight end 1. He's like favored by his numbers crazy.
9.5 now on Warren.
I mean, yeah, because they think he might go 9, right? Like that's where he might go. But you look at teams like 10 through 15, 10 through 20, they need tight ends. Like the Colts have been mocked to have a tight end. Like every mock draft has a tight end. And it's Loveland, right? He'd be right there at 14. So I think that's a good wager because I think tight ends, they're so important. He's a pass catching guy. I get that. He's not a blocking tight end, but I like that when you're right, the price of that's going to change a lot.
Yeah, I don't know why the Jets wouldn't be in the tight end for a market for a tight end. I mean, they were trust me,
Absolutely.
they were very close to taking Bowers last year, and they ultimately took the offensive lineman. And the impact that Bowers had on the Raiders offense last year could have been rookie of the year if it wasn't for Jaden Daniels. I think teams are going to see that. So I think you're going to see a couple of tight ends go very early. So I like that under for not under 19.5 for Loveland as well. I'm just thinking this through with Ward. We think there's zero chance that the Titans are just bluffing this for a trade and Abdul Carter is their guy. And the only reason I say that is because they've got their stadium, they've got the new GM, their coaches, all of their job security is set. You get the impact pass rusher at 1. Maybe you can take a quarterback at the top of round 2 or whatever. But next year, you're potentially going to have Nussmeier and you're going to potentially have Arch Manning. If you could take a Manning in the state of Tennessee to be your quarterback, like forget it. That would be through the roof in that state. But so I'm not all the way there that it's a lock that I think the Titans are going to. We'll see if if it is a bluff. We'll see if their bluff gets called. I do believe the Browns like Cam Ward and the Browns want Cam Ward. It's a matter of whether they make a trade up or an offer to try and trade up, or they see if the Titans actually do take him.
I'm not laying Cam Ward minus 3,000 at MGM.
Hell no.
That's not happening. They're giving you Carter at 15-1. Other books are 8, 9, 10. I'd bet a little at 15. A little. Just a taste, guys. I mean, 15-1's crazy on Carter.
Bear, let me ask you, and you can be coy about this if you want. Is this something that's popped in your head, or you talk to people? Do other people think this?
I know. I don't. The theory about taking Carter number 1 and everything, that is just me. But I do know for a fact that the Browns do like Cam Ward, and they absolutely would.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, if he's there at 2, they'll take him. It's a question of whether they need to trade up. But the number 1, my theory on Tennessee and taking Carter and then hoping for Nussmeier or Arch next year, that is just me spitballing.
Well, if Kevin Costner's there, he'll take Abdul Carter no matter what.
I mean, the thing about Abdul Carter's foot, guys, kind of worries me going 1 overall, right? I mean, or even training back to 2. Like we don't know how bad his foot injury actually is, but I could see that teams saying at the top of the draft, like we can't risk. If you're Tennessee, like you need an impactful player immediately, whether quarterback or someone else. You have to have that guy come play. Their roster is sort of barren right now of impact players. Are you going to trade back, which I think it's certainly possible to Bear's point, and then draft a player who potentially has a foot injury? That I think is a very big unknown. We don't know the medicals, right? We won't know that as teams decide to set their draft boards up. That's what worries me about Carter being drafted so high. Is if he had a clean bill of health, I think I would agree with impact he can have on a team, trade out of there. The trade partners, though, Bear does feel like it's only the Browns, right? The Giants are out, right? They've signed 2 quarterbacks, and I was told before Russell Wilson they were out. How much do you put into reports about, Tennessee, again, flying their entire staff for his pro day? They brought the social media team as well, which signals like we're making content to put out at some point about Cam Ward being a Tennessee Titan. And that's unusual to bring your social media team. Like I get the coaches being there, but it does feel like they're all in on Cam Ward. And that's what worries me about any team trading up is you must give an offer that is just not worth it for the Titans to move down at all.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly does seem like they're. It could be if it's not real, it's the all-time smokescreen. But we'll see ultimately that we think though in terms of the big picture with quarterbacks, there'll probably be 3. In the first round is what you think, Geoff?
I like the Steelers draft a quarterback. The number yesterday was a little bit higher. It was like 450 on one of the domestics. It's like 325 now. I mean, look, think about where Pittsburgh's at right now. As of right now, they don't have a quarterback for next year, right? Is Mason Rudolph? You're a de facto Steelers fan, Bear. Is Mason Rudolph going to do it for your wife? Is she excited?
No, but I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to do it for my wife.
But Aaron Rodgers, if he wants to be a Steeler, he could do it today. He could do it right now. The offer's on the table. Just become a Steeler. He clearly has reservations about that. They have to draft Jackson Dart if he's there. Like, what are they going to do? Not have a quarterback this season? They're going to wait for Jalen Milroe to be available or Quinn Ewers? I can't imagine that. So I had Pittsburgh drafting quarterback. Will I don't know. I got a good number. It's probably going to move down even more. But I just think you look at where their roster is right now and where they are drafting. They need a quarterback.
And Bear wants Milroe on the Jets, right? Milroe Jets, that makes perfect sense, I think. Right?
Round 3, round 4, sure.
Who do you want the Jets to get?
I want them to take one of the tight ends.
Okay.
When you've got a quarterback who can't throw like they have with Justin Fields, you need some type of security blanket / offensive weapon that can get the ball in those shorter to intermediate routes.
Kyle Brady 2.0.
What's that?
Kyle Brady 2.0.
Oh Christ! Oh, that was an awful day. Oh, that was an awful day. Like I will never forget when they passed on him and being. I think the draft was still at Radio City, and I was working for ESPN at the time with covering the draft. And when I was like, oh my God, the Jets are going to get Warren Sapp, because I was literally like a couple of years out of Miami. I'm like, oh my God, the Jets are going to get Warren Sapp. The Jets are going to get Warren Sapp, and
they didn't get him.
And like you have the pick, like the pick channel on the headset. Like when the card gets brought up to the podium, like for graphic purposes, you know who it is at that point, and you hear the pick of the Jets take player number, whatever the ID number is, blah blah blah, tight end Kyle Brady. I'm like, oh no, it was just terrible. But no, I think Loveland and Warren are clearly different. You got the Warren and Brady Penn State parallel, but I think both.
Sorry, Barrett. Let me give you one more thing that I heard this morning on the Vikings, and Will might be able to back this up. It sounds like they're done at corner in free agency. They signed Rodgers. They got Jeff Okudah, and there's another name that I'm being told is basically a done deal, but they're going to wait for some cap implications. Vikings are plus 180 to take a corner, but 250 to take an O-lineman. I think O-lineman's the move. Why would they're going to bring in 3 corners in free agency. Why would they draft another one? So Will, they have a big hole at left guard, right? I would think Minnesota goes O-line with their first pick.
Yeah, at plus 250, that's certainly interesting. And Barry, you just triggered something in my memory. The draft used to be so much better. It would be noon Eastern on Saturday. People would boo the picks. The announcers would criticize picks. Now everyone is kick gloves. They don't want to be on social media freezing cold takes 5 years later saying, "Oh, what a terrible pick," and the guy ends up being good. Draft used to be so much better.
I agree, and you're right with the position of where the Vikings are going to be drafting too. it seems like O-line, like that, like, because it seems like you got a couple of, and Geoff, I don't know your opinion on this. Like, it feels like you got a couple of pretty elite prospects, and then like the middle part of the first round, you might be like offensive line free, and then back end is probably where you might get a Banks and with the kid from North Dakota as well.
They will, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it
there.
depends on it. There's only 2 true interior offensive linemen that are going the first round, and it might be one. Tyler Booker's going the first round from Alabama, and then you mentioned Zabel from NDSU. Like, those are the only 2 interior guys. You might move Banks inside. I wouldn't, or Connerly inside, or Simmons. I mean, there's guys you might move inside, but there's no one. I think if Zabel and Booker are gone, which is certainly possible with Seattle going and doing that.
That's what I was going to ask you, because Seattle's
higher,
kind of in that. What do they pick, 17 or 18 or somewhere around there? And like, that's a team. I was told that they interviewed like close to 24 offensive linemen at the combines. It appears like, I know people are trying to target like, a wide receiver to replace Metcalf, but if you can't keep Sam Darnold upright, like what good do any wide receivers have you?
This is the hard part about the draft for all of us, right? Is we just don't know where guys are ranked on everyone's boards, right? Because you can make the argument that this is a much deeper wide receiver draft than offensive line draft, right? So if you're trying to find elite, impactful players, you could take an offensive lineman at 18, let's say, that can play right now, and then take a wide receiver in round 2, 3, or 4.
I would do.
And the hit rate is a lot higher in this draft than the inverse of that, right? Where you take, a wide receiver at 18 and take an offensive lineman in the 2nd or 3rd or 4th. There's just the offensive line class. I mean, maybe you take Jackson from Ohio State and he's your guard, but there's no guarantee that he's available in the middle of the 2nd round, right? Someone might take him much earlier. So I think if you're in that position early in the draft, not really early, but really 10 to like 20, there are teams that need offensive guards. You got to take them now and wait for wide receiver later.
So Geoff, you mocked 5 offensive linemen in the first round?
If you say so. No, I think it was Campbell, obviously, the kid from Missouri, Connerly. I put Zabel and Booker. I think those were the 5. Banks, maybe 6 then. I'm gonna have
6, and the over-under is 6.5. Is what the total? That's why I was asking.
I think the linchpin for that is what Kansas City does at 31. I don't think they're taking offensive linemen. I think they're taking defensive linemen, and they have to take a defensive lineman. But if they go offensive line, I think you're going over 7. You go over 6.5.
Wow, you gave the Chiefs an Oregon guy. Really bold.
I wrote. I don't know if I kept it in there. I wrote like I saved him for the Chiefs. Derek Harmon could certainly go much sooner.
Your 2 favorite teams.
I think Derek Harmon is really good, guys. I think he's being really over. He's 6'5", 315, had 50 pressures at defensive tackle in college in a single season, which is really hard to do. I think he's really good. I did save him, Sammy. I purposely saved him. How do we feel about Genty to the Bears?
They're so dumb if they do it. They have so many holes. They're so dumb if they take a running back.
I'm glad you said that, Geoff, because that's what I was going to say when you were talking about the inverse with taking an offensive lineman in the first round and then taking a wide receiver in like round 3 or round 4. I was going to say like Genty has been like mocked to the Raiders by everybody. And my thought process with this is that, again, this is, Will, you brought it up before where like you talk to people, this is, again, just me spitballing. I haven't spoken to anybody with the Raiders or whatever else. But if you're the Raiders, a team with so many holes and a new coaching staff in there, you're going to take Ashton Genty at 6, right? Is where they pick. And then whatever else. It's a deep running back draft.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you take Jalen Walker, whomever, at 6, and then take one of the other running backs at the top? Do you take Trevion Henderson, a running back with Chip Kelly's familiar with from Ohio State, or one of the other running backs, Dylan Say, whomever, at the top of the 2nd? Like it feels like the hit rate on that and the impact rate on that is better than taking Ashton Genty at 6 and then whatever else you're going to get down the board from I don't know, but I played at, again, one of the places that have him up. I played Ashton Genty under 9.5, thinking that the first spot he really could go would be the Bears. And I was even texting you guys before the show, like I wouldn't take him in the top 10. And it sounds like you agree, Sammy.
I wouldn't take a running back in Chicago. I know that maybe Ben Johnson might get blinded by the success with Gibbs, but Gibbs is Gibbs because of the O-line, because they have guys like Penei Sewell on the line. So even though they made some moves, brought in Tooney and brought in Jackson and all that, They still need O-line depth, and they need guys on the D-line too. They need depth in the trenches, and hopefully they realize that.
Barry, you brought up that the Raiders wouldn't do that, and you gave out all reasons I agree with. But does Pete Carroll think that way? He's more of an old school guy. He's still a guy, punts 4th and 1 from midfield. That's like a running back. Look, Pete Carroll's an older guy too. With his age, it's not like he's going to be around coaching that team 5-7 years from now. Probably wants an instant impact guy. He likes running backs. That was a running game defense really team with Seattle when he won it all. And Sammy brought it up. Gibbs, and I'll throw in Barkley. I know they're playing behind really good offensive lines, but a running back's cool again. Could you sell it? Like, all right, running backs, they were overrated for so long. They were interchangeable. Now we're realizing they're matter again. I wouldn't do it. I'm completely with you guys. I just wonder if the pendulum's going to start to swing the other way and you can kind of sell it.
There is a massive prop in there too about number of running backs over under 2.5, and the under 2.5 is massively juiced. I mean, there's no way 3 of these guys go in the first round, right?
Unless like it would be expensive if it did, right?
Do the Clyde Edwards-Helaire deal again, which I doubt they're going to make that mistake again. I mean, they need a running back. Maybe that 31, they're like, I don't know. There's no one else we like on our board. We'll take the 3rd running back. I think 2 is right. Genty and then Hampton going. Everyone has them mocked to the Broncos, which I think they certainly could take a running back.
Broncos have like 9 running backs, don't they?
They need 1. 3. This 3. We have so much time to talk about it. The 3 running back system is silly and a waste and makes no one good. So you need 1 running back. That's it.
Yeah,
just 1.
Mike Shanahan needs to really figure that out.
Any other draft props out there or draft thoughts that you got?
I have a lot, but Sully's in our ear telling us to talk more baseball. So I think we should transition to something else.
Will DraftKings pay us out? Will by the All-Star break on the Dodgers to be the number 1 seed in the National League?
I don't think the Braves are going to catch them the way the season has started.
No, I don't think so.
It's off to a good start. You never want to jinx anything, but we'll leave it at that. It's off to a good start.
It is.
That said, I did write this down. May 1st, Braves. I'm going to look at that team, lift it a little bit, to win the NL East on May 1st. I think you're going to get like 4-1, and I probably bet it because I'm stupid.
Well, it's funny you say it because I actually was looking the other day about odds to miss the playoffs, and it was crazy because at one shop at DraftKings a couple days ago they were plus 210 to miss the playoffs. Same day at FanDuel they were plus 162 to miss the playoffs. Like that's a 50-cent difference. That's insane how different those two shops are. But like if you scoop up some and then maybe you scoop them up to win the division later on when they're however many
flashbacks from last year. Again, what did we have last year? Like 15-1 to miss or 20 to 30
massive,
whatever it was.
Massive prices.
They were a game away. They had to rally late in the season to do it. Jeez.
And that's the thing. They wound up with 89 wins last year, and 89 was what they needed to get into the playoffs. And you look, you think the Snakes are going to be good. Padres are still going to be good. Mets will be good. And Philly, like at some point, it becomes a numbers game. And maybe they will be but so that they're 0-7 right now as we're recording. So they got 155 left. So you got to go at 89 and 56 the rest of the way.
And if you play poorly enough, maybe you put yourself in a position where we're not going to add at the deadline, or maybe we even sell off a reliever, or a spare part here or there. So something to think about too.
I mean, I know you're going to get Acuna and Strider back, but it seems like a lot of work. Well, maybe have a little bit more of that maybe in best bets later on. Tease. I did play Sammy just for you. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to make an NL MVP bet, but I did bite on Kyle Tucker at 18-1, just because if they do win that division and the Dodgers are the super team, like, I don't know, they throw money away.
No, he'll win it and then he'll leave the Cubs because that's what's going to happen. They won't pay him. Ricketts going to be like, nope, not going to pay him, and then he'll leave. By the way, boys, only 48 more wins for the White Sox, and I'm a rich man.
There we go. and as well, the joke that you like to make from Major League, hey, maybe these guys don't don't suck too bad, or whatever the.
I'm gonna watch that movie again. That's
so
not
good.
two straight. That's not 2 straight weeks of Major
Maybe
League
these guys
references.
aren't too shitty.
Yeah, that's what it is actually, Bear. You nailed it the second time.
We're hey, I'm not we're allowed to curse in the podcast. Hey, by the way, over my right shoulder right now, we're a week away from a tradition unlike any other. Jim Nantz will be flying in late Monday night after watching his Houston Cougars cut down the nets in San Antonio to Augusta, Georgia, where we got the Masters tournament coming up. Sammy gave you a little taste before of a potential bet you can make with Oberg and Scheffler, which I think was the 1-2. Did Oberg want to finish in second last year? I know he was
yes.
like,
Yes.
I know it was like tied for the lead at one point. He went in the drink, and then it was kind of academic. And I thought he did wind up finishing second and make it interesting. But yeah, it's not too often the runner-up winds up winning the following year. But maybe this will be the year. The one guy I am not betting Rory. It's just not going to happen. He's talking about his elbow being hurt right now. But yeah, I remember going back in the day when I was at ESPN and working this event, and after he had won the Open Championship at Liverpool, 2014, he did just that one leg to get the career Grand Slam. And I remember looking up like how many times it took for the player to get the necessary major to get the career slam, and like everyone who did it within like the first 5 trips to that particular major. Like he's had 10 tries now, and it hasn't happened. So I just think the field is too deep. I am on the fade Rory Express here in terms of the win. So I will look for some head-to-heads as well. The only 2 guys I have in pocket right now, I got Zalatoris at like 50-1, and I got Justin Thomas at 31-1. Those are the only 2 individual bets. I got some legs of cross-sport parlays that are alive as well with a bunch of guys. But Will, have you made any Masters bets yet? What are you waiting on anything? Are you have any preliminary thoughts?
My original thought is I'm very sad to not see Tiger Woods in this tournament.
We all
last
are.
year we did very well playing his 3rd round score under. Remember, he had this trend of he'd play okay round 1, everyone get excited. Then that number was way out of control because people just want to bet on him and root for him, and they get caught up in the story, and they end up posting some terrible numbers, hole to hole for him to bogey. There were some great bets.
Will, we made so much money live wagering bogeys on all the par 4s and the par 3s. Like it was good money. But he said he's coming. I thought I saw him tweet 2 days ago. His Achilles is fine now.
Yeah, I was going to say April 1st. He said he was in that hyperbaric chamber and he was good to go. That wasn't real.
Get him in Augusta in a week or so. That'd be great. I like your Zalatoris at 51-1. That one, what is that? DraftKings? I might take a little.
That bet was made a while ago. I wonder what I will look at what he is at DraftKings right now.
I like that number though. Anything in that range for Zalatoris.
He's played well there before, and he's he's healthy as he's been in a while. Let me see what the current number here is at DraftKings. They usually do have the better 45-1 at DraftKings on Zalatoris, and let's see what he is at FanDuel. While you guys can talk while I'm looking this up.
I think Justin Thomas is live for this one, right? He's won 2 majors, played well so far this season, and he putts well. Like those are all important in this. At this course, right? So I think see 24-1 right now, and maybe it's a worse number somewhere else. Obviously, you didn't get the same number that Bear got, but that feels good. And then, of course, like, are we passing up on Scheffler, guys? Because he's only won 2 majors, not only, but he's won 2 majors. They've both been at Augusta. Like, this is his course. This is where he plays the best at, Sammy.
If he wins, I'll be very happy. It will complete my Jake Paul, Scotty Scheffler moneyline parlay. Dude, I looked at my account the other day. One of them, I have Jake Paul still live in like 5 parlays that
to win the Masters. Open. Jake Paul?
No, Jake Paul. No,
why would we couldn't watch because the streaming didn't work.
Jake Paul over Tyson, and then I have like 6 other things with Jake Paul separately. I have Thomas actually at 30. I have Hovland at 50. And Oberg at 20, and then Scheffler and Jake Paul. So I like where I'm at so far.
I'll wait for the tournament to start. I'll wait for the tournament to start and see what Mitchell Schwartz, Jeff's brother, is tweeting about, and then I'll make my bets accordingly. So,
does he like Homa? Are we in on Homa?
I don't know. He does. I love about my brother. It's so good. Like there'll be some major sporting event on, and everyone is watching it, and he's watching like the third round of a no-name golf tournament, live tweeting about it. It's fantastic.
Does he not like other
golf.
sports? He only likes golf?
No, I think he would just watch it a lot. He loves, dude, he golfs every day. Like he's got his golf sim going. Like he's just, that's what he wants to do is golf. So he golfs every day. And so he's super into it. And yeah, he'll be tweeting about like the Valspar Open in the middle of the Elite Eight weekend. You're like, all right, cool. I mean, yeah, you love it, right? Someone's got to be watching it.
He's going to have Homa for sure at 200-1. I guarantee it.
Homa might be our guy to give the Tiger treatment to this year.
He won't make it to the third day, which is what
that's why I'm saying. Round one, round two. I mean, he might be the hole-to-hole fade.
Tiger was a special handicap though, because he would get so physically worn down from the first 2 days that the numbers would get inflated because people want to root for him. It was just a perfect storm of betting. It really was.
He couldn't walk. Great. He couldn't walk.
Right. He couldn't walk the course. Yeah.
And anybody who has been to Augusta and been able to be at the course knows how demanding that course is to walk. It is so much more hilly than it shows up on television. By the way, if you're looking to bet Scheffler, the number at FanDuel looks to be better than them. Looks like he's plus 350 at DraftKings, plus 460 at FanDuel. I don't know what he is elsewhere, but if you only have those two books to bet, plus 460 at FanDuel is the better between Scheffler, who very easily could have won a couple of weeks ago. So we'll see.
That's the best price, 460. I would also say this goes sort of without being said, but I would bet Scheffler yesterday and not wait until next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like if you're going to bet him, just bet him now.
Even if he starts slow, it's not like they give you a great number live. Like it's over like the Kansas City Chiefs when they fall behind in a game and you're looking for a live number. They kind of know what you're onto with these algorithms with Scheffler, where you usually don't get great numbers.
With Scheffler, yes, really totally.
Yeah.
Like the day of the second round at Bay Hill, he was like plus 190 or something, and I bet him that day, and he went out and shot 62 or whatever it was, and I thought he was just going to run away with the tournament, and ultimately wound up losing by a stroke. But I remember when Rahm won at Augusta, he had a double bogey there early, and his price drifted, I think, like close to 20-1, and that was the year they wound up winning. So yeah, a lot of times playing these things in play are the way to go. So, and
you have that buddy of yours that bets Rahm every week. I wonder how he's doing. With
yeah, I was gonna say I'll have to try and get in touch with him because I mean, but just bet Rahm and you're good. So I haven't heard from him in a while. So, so I have to reach out prior to the Masters next week and see what he's been up to. Anything else random before we let you guys go? I'm gonna have to start firing in some of these Masters and Final Four little twofers, maybe a little fever as well. So, Sammy, you gave me an itch now, Sammy. It's a bad thing.
Just add some more Duke, Bear. What could go wrong? Duke and Scheffler, Duke and Luda. Just get weird.
Duke minus 10. Duke minus 10, right, guys?
And then if the Fever do win, take the over in number of tweets Geoff Schwartz sends us from WNBA Twitter on that day that the Fever wins.
Oh, buddy, it will be a good day.
Can we get a Fever Sky name the WNBA finalists?
Oh, I already got I got my Fever's ticket months ago for them to win the WNBA championship. So we got good numbers then. We got like 750 or 800. We got really good numbers. Yeah, I'm ready for that. I'm ready for it to start in May.
Geoff Schwartz ready for the WNBA. Well, we might have to go down to Mohegan Sun. Yes. Check out the Fever when they come to town.
Absolutely. I'm trying to think of what good restaurants there. Michael Jordan's maybe.
I was going to say Jordan's is there. There's a Pepe's in there.
Sure.
People are getting bored now, and I'm sure Sully's going crazy right now saying a rap. It's our podcast, Dan, but we can talk about whatever the hell we want. Anyway. All right, guys. Talk next week. Except for you, Geoff, you're leaving us next week.
Yes, I'm going spring break a week early. We're going to Mexico.
Going to Daytona?
Yes, yeah, Daytona. Yeah, no, we're going to Mexico with the kids. So you guys have fun talking Masters and baseball for a long. Talk baseball way longer than Sully wants, please. Okay, that's my wish for next week.
Let us know how that exchange rate treats you next week. All right, when you get back.
Oh, jeez, that's a different podcast, Bear. For different.
Bye,
time,
everybody.
Okay? All right, welcome back. If you're still here, thank you. I know we did it. We went long there, Bear. We covered a lot of different sports. It's a good time of year, right? There's a lot of variety of things to wager on. I mean, I'm wagering on Alex Ovechkin every game he plays. to score a goal, shots on goal. It's cashing.
You're doing good with like score the last goal, right? That was you got you on.
Yeah, last goal, third period goal as well. There's one booked off for third period goal. That's like plus 350, plus 400. So there's many different ways to bet on sports. We have our best bets coming up. So we'll give you 2 other ways to wager on Sports Bear. You have a baseball bet. Let's hear your best bet.
I do. I kind of teased it a little bit in the gambling group chat, but I took the Braves to miss the playoffs at plus 180. And I know Sammy was talking about maybe making an argument to win that division, but you're, as of the time we're recording this, I know it's a 162 game season, but you're 0-7. I mean, that you are really putting yourself behind the 8 ball with an 0-7 type start, knowing that the teams that you've lost to are the Dodgers and the Padres, 2 teams that you're going to, those two are playoff teams. You're in a division with the Mets and the Phillies. You get the NL Central. I mean, maybe you probably only get 1 from there, but you know that Arizona is going to be good. The Giants in the NL West are off to a good start as well. Like you've got a lot of work to do to get to 89 wins, which is what you needed to get to the playoffs last year, and you barely got there. And I had those great prices that Will alluded to last year on the Braves to miss the playoffs. You're going to get Acuna back. You're going to get Strider back, but I don't know, man. I think plus 180 to miss. For the Braves is a little bit of investment. There was a better number out there, like I said a couple of days ago, north of 200. But 0-7 now, the number's down to 180. Could be maybe ahead of the game here if this turns into kind of a lost season for Atlanta.
Well, one thing, Bears, you're counting on the Mets to do what they need to do, which is always a risky thing for you, especially that's risky. But secondly, what happens first? Do the Dodgers lose first? Or the Braves win a game 0-7? What happens first?
I'm gonna say the Braves win.
The Dodgers.
I have no idea who they play next.
The Braves have the Marlins next.
Oh yeah,
they're at home against the Marlins, who are 4-3, and the Dodgers obviously seem like they're never going to lose. They're at Philadelphia tomorrow. I feel like I should have bet the Dodgers over 103.5 Bear, and I just didn't. I don't know why. And it does feel like, as much as I know Schwartz said they might not go for the 117 games, but or what is it? What 117 is the record, right? Is that the record? 117?
I think
would be the record?
That's right.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But I mean, they don't lose. They've been down game. They're just not going to lose a lot of games.
The problem is they're so deep. I mean, they're a bench. I mean, what John was saying is absolutely right. But when the bench depth is so good, like, and you're just giving your starters rest, then you gotta come on in. Like,
that's
crazy.
I feel like I missed out, but I'm not going to miss out on my best bet, Bear, for the weekend. I'm going to stick with college basketball. I'm going to take Duke for the second half, -2.5. I talked about this a little bit earlier. The way I think this game is going to go, I think early in the game it's going to be close, right? These two teams kind of filling each other out. The fishing's going to matter. And then I think Duke is just a more talented team, and they're going to pull away. Maybe not pull away, but they're going to pull away in the second half, right, Bear? They're long on defense. They have many different ways to score. And I think if Houston sort of has a period of time where they don't score, Duke can sort of take that step forward. Duke shoots a ton of foul shots at a high level, which is hugely important here. They're better than Houston on at the foul line. So both things can happen, Bear. Duke can win the second half, and then Houston can still win, right? Like, that can happen.
That's right. I love that. Be happy. That's a perfect scenario. Look at you being a good teammate.
Yeah, both be happy here. So Duke second half. Also worth noting, Bear, Houston's covered only 12 second halves the entire season. Like this is not what they do well. So I like Duke second half here, -2.5.
Yeah, like you said, the favorite laying a small number in the second half, maybe get a parade to the free throw line. So that'll be something to watch.
Yeah.
But hopefully we get a couple of good games on Saturday.
Hope so. Yeah.
And we end the college basketball, even the potentially in the women's Final Four, we can get a South Carolina UConn rematch potentially as well if UCLA or Texas don't pull an upset, right? South Carolina and UConn are on opposite sides. That's right. Correct. Right?
I have, that is correct. I have UConn future. I got a good number. I feel good about them. So hopefully they can win me some money there.
Hopefully you took something away there. Golf, baseball, basketball, WNBA, cross-sport parlays. That was a lot of fun. This was one to listen to on like 1.5 times through.
Yes.
Speed for sure, which is what most people do anyway. So thanks to Sammy and Will. Geoff, appreciate you. We're going to miss you next week. We will have Jeff Sherman from the Superbook Golf Odds on Twitter to preview the Masters with us on Tuesday, which will be fun. There'll be some other, all those top 10 markets will be up by then. Hopefully some head-to-heads, all the other derivatives that we can talk about, in addition to just the outrights as well. Geoff is a really good, Geoff with a J, as opposed to Geoff with a G, our Geoff.
Yeah, listen to Jeff Sherman on golf, please.
Exactly. But that'll be fun. He'll join Sammy and Will and myself next week. Thanks to you again, everybody, for listening. It's a lot of fun. Appreciate downloads, the positive feedback, the interaction on Twitter. Rate, review, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, whether it be Apple, Spotify, our Bearbrats YouTube channel with all of our unbelievable graphics. Make sure you check it out. Until then, remember, less you bet, more you lose when you win.